At our clinic at True North Health Center in Santa Rosa, California, about an hour north of San Francisco, we frequently use water fasting to help patients get a jump start on a healthy way to eat, as well as it's such an effective tool in lowering high blood pressure, clearing out diabetes, cooling off arthritic joints, quelling inflammations of all sorts. We see psoriasis clear quickly on fast. And migraine headaches get better, asthma gets better. It's such a powerful modality to help gain control over these very, very serious symptoms that many people have. However, as we make clear to our patients, and I'd like to make clear to everyone watching, as powerful as a water fast is to gain control over these troublesome symptoms, the most important thing that far overrides the water fast is what you eat after the fast. These conditions in Western societies are created largely by the animal-based, meat and dairy-based standard Western diet filled with hydrogenated oils and refined sugars and animal products. And this toxic brew that flows through our tissues inflames our arteries, makes us obese, gives us diabetes, etc. And though the water fast can help control the symptoms, if the person gets through a fast, even a long one, and then goes back to chicken and cheese and olive oil land, the symptoms come back within days. It's shocking how quickly Cinderella turns back into a pumpkin. And so during the water fast, and any people who stay at True North, we send them to cooking classes. We give them food demonstrations. We want them to watch the nutrition videos. And no, it's not cruel and unusual punishment to go to a cooking class while you're on a water fast. People aren't hungry during a fast, and they really don't mind that. But the most important thing is to learn how to make a whole food, plant-based diet at home, or at least make one happen if you're not cooking it yourself. And keep the beneficial changes that start during the water fast, keep it going through your life, and you'll get so healthy you don't need to come back and do another water fast. So the water fast is a tool. It's not a be-all and end-all of itself. The most important thing is the food that you run through your system day after day, week after week, month after month. That's what creates a body that's either lean and healthy with normal blood pressure and no need to see doctors, or one that's all obese and clogged up and inflamed and has lots of diagnoses attached to it. So as the plaque in my office says, it's the food, it's the food, it's the food. So it's not so much the fast, it's the food, but fasting can be a very helpful tool to help people get that initial jump start towards lasting health. If a person is basically healthy, they're not taking any medications, they're not seeing a physician on a regular basis for any chronic disease, they have normal function of their liver, kidneys, etc., then yes, basically healthy people can do a 3-day water fast at home. It's a lovely thing to do. It's like taking your cells to the car wash. For 3 days, you're just running pure water through your cells, and you emerge from that lighter and cleaner, and it's a lovely, lovely thing to do. And I have patients who do that every other week, twice a month. They'll do a 3-day stretch on just water alone. And if you're a healthy person on no medications and no health problems, absolutely everyone can do that. And I said, we have patients Friday morning, they start their water program, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday morning they have some vegetable juice and or maybe a bowl of soup, and they gradually just over the course of 48 hours increase their food consumption and get back into their healthy diet. So yes, people can do 3 days at home on their own if you're a healthy person. At True North Health Center, we've learned how to bring people out of fasts. And in general, you want to start with the easiest, lightest foods of all. These are basically vegetable juices, and if a person is healthy, doesn't have diabetes or autoimmune diseases, we can do a fruit-based juice like watermelon celery juice, or we'll give them a bowl of watermelon chunks. But the key is not so much the sugar, it's the water content. You want to be on high water content foods. So that's why we do juices, which are basically all just water, or the watermelon chunks. And you want to gradually increase fiber down into the intestinal tract. So our standard progression after longer fast is a day on juices, and then we move on to either soups or steamed vegetables, and then on to raw vegetables, because raw cabbage and carrot fiber can be pretty tough, so I like them after the steamed vegetables. And then finally, I missed a day of fruit there. We do the juices, a day of fruits, then the steamed vegetables, then introduce the raw vegetables. These are all added onto each other. And finally, the denser foods, the rice and beans and potatoes, etc. So that's the standard refeed after a longer fast. But just 72 hours on water doesn't require that long a reintroduction. So just a day starting with vegetable or fruit juices and some soup in the evening, and you're pretty much ready to go back to your healthy plant-based diet at that point. Enemas are not required during a water fast, and especially during these long water fasts. And at the middle or the end of a fast, people get pretty depleted. They don't need to have that added stress added to their system. So we really strongly suggest, almost require, that when people come to our clinic in preparation of doing a fast, at least for the 3 days before they walk in our front door, they've eaten a diet of only vegetables and fruits. We want only plant material sitting in those intestines, because whatever in those intestines pretty much sits there. And if they've got cheese and fish and white bread and meat sitting in their intestines, now by the end of the fasting period, their intestines are pretty plugged up, and these are pretty uncomfortable people. So if the only thing coming into the fast that's in their intestines are fruit and vegetable material, there's no real need to take an enema. But many people come to our clinic not having had that preparation, and they are full of white bread and cheese, and they have a salmon sandwich bagel at the airport. And these folks, we often will send them over to the colon hydrotherapist and have her clean out the colon as kind of a deluxe enema. So they start the program with a clean, empty colon. So for whatever that's worth, I certainly have no objections if people want to do an enema before the fast. That's probably a good thing to do, but we don't require it in our program. Fasting is an ancient modality, of course. It was described in the Bible. It's been used for thousands of years to quell powerful inflammatory states of the body. If there was a pill that lowered high blood pressure, cleared out diabetes, quelled migraine headaches, made asthma go away, extinguished the fire in hot, painful rheumatoid joints, cleared psoriatic plaques and psoriasis. If there was a pill that did all this, we'd be trillionaires. But a water fast will do all those things. It's that powerful modality. And people bring all those conditions to our clinic. And as a result, over 25 years, we've become quite skilled at managing long water fasts. It's amazing how long the body can go just drinking water. There are definite stages in that program. And the longest fast we will supervise at True North is 40 days. And this it happens not infrequently, and there are people with just intractable high blood pressure, just out of control diabetes, just inflamed joints that are painful to look at. These folks need to do 3, 4, 5 week fast. However, we are set up to do this. At True North, we do nutrition-based medicine done right. Everyone who comes in sees an MD physician for initial health assessment. Laboratory tests are ordered. It's decided whether they should do the feeding program, a juice cleanse, or a water fast. And no matter what program they decide, they live in a nice apartment room there, and our interns knock on the door twice a day, 8 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon. Their vital signs, their pulse, how are you doing? We watch these people like a hawk, and we are constantly monitoring for signs that says their body has reached a point where it's time to break the fast. That somebody is, pounding headaches, they're getting ready to vomit. They are getting so lightheaded when they stand up, they feel like they're going to pass out. Their pulses get fast. If we detect these signs, then it's time to end the fast. And so because we're experienced at watching this, it's safe, there's no question from a body point of view, to do a 40-day water fast. Again, assuming that you have normal kidney function and the body is otherwise healthy. Now, we supervise up to 40-day fasts, but everyone's different. The calendar is the largest determinant of when people have to listen, doc, I got to leave on the 29th. Well, that defines the parameters of the fast. But just from a biological point of view, the people who come in say, listen, I'm open-ended, I'll stay here as long as I need to. Everyone's different. Some people a 2-week fast works, some people a 3 or 4 week fast, some people 5 or 5 week fast or longer. So it's a clinical judgment based on everybody's individual needs. But people can do 40-day fast and emerge lighter and leaner afterwards. But they're different metabolic creatures, and if they adopt a whole food plant-based diet from that point on, they usually don't have to come back and do another fast. As far as how frequently one can do a water fast, again, it depends on the person and their state of health going into it. If they're borderline kidney failure, they shouldn't be fasting at all. If they're basically a healthy person, we're now understanding more of the nuances of fasting. Classically, and any healthy person could do a 3-day water fast twice a month, and we have patients who do that. I have patients who fast on Fridays or Sundays every week, and that's absolutely reasonable. When you think about it, our digestive system is the only system we never really let rest. You know, when you're sleeping, your muscle system rests, your nervous system rests. But if you have a 10 o'clock snack while you're sleeping, your digestive system still has to be churning away there. And because food has become a recreational activity in our society, our digestive systems are constantly working. And so any day, one day that you can give your digestive system and your body a break from digesting food is a good thing. So the so-called intermittent fasting, as I said, just 1 day a week, or people declare a daily fast from when they get up in the morning till noon. They just drink water till noon. They just extend their nighttime fast to the daytime hours, and there's wonderful benefits in doing that. So again, it depends who the person is and the reason for the fasting. But if they're brief, they can be done, as I said, even 1 day a week on a weekly basis there. But longer fasts, the 3-day fast, that you can do twice a month. 5 days or longer under supervision. That you can do that 3 or 4 times a year, and we have many people who come to True North for exactly that program. People come to True North for a health vacation. They say, look, doc, we can go to Las Vegas and come back fatter, sicker, and poorer, or we can come to True North, do a 5 or 7 day water fast and a refeed program and leave lighter and cleaner and healthier with money in our pocket, because it's not a very expensive place to stay. And so for that reason, people come all the time for a little touch-up fast, and they're very happy when they leave. So I think it's a modality that's going to get wider and wider acceptance as time goes on. At our clinic at True North Health Center in Santa Rosa, we make a distinction between a water fast and a juice cleanse. Because on a water fast, you are drinking only water. There are 0 calories in it. And after 48, 72 hours on a water fast, after you burn through the blood sugar circulating in your body and the stored carbohydrates, the glycogen in your liver, then you start metabolizing fat tissue. And as you metabolize fat tissue, molecules called ketones come into the bloodstream. And ketones have some interesting properties, one of which they suppress hunger. As God's gift to fasters, you don't spend 7 or 14 days hungry. Now, by day 3 or 4, people, they're not even hungry. You see them sitting down in the dining room watching other guests eat. You ask them, are you hungry? Not even hungry at all. And so the ketones bring that gift of quelling hunger. And there's other benefits that can accrue from being in the state of ketosis for a short period of time. You don't want to stay in it week after week after week after week, month after month, some people advocate. But a short spell of ketosis can help the body shift into a gear where inflammation subsides and cancer growth is quelled. And so the state of ketosis is a real benefit during water fasting. On a juice cleanse, however, We don't say it's a juice fast because it's not really a fast. It's a 600-calorie liquid diet. These juices certainly have glucose and other sugars in them. And as a result, people don't go into ketosis. And so they're on kind of a different metabolic path. But that's not to say a juice cleanse is of no value. It's of great value, especially to most of our clients who are coming in from cheeseburger and pepperoni pizza land to spend 5 or 7 or 10 days with these wonderful vegetable juices flowing through their tissues, loaded with phytonutrients and antioxidants and all the wonderful things that are in the fresh plants. We make our juices right on premises there. Oh, it's a healing, cleansing thing to do. And the benefits that people get from this are quite remarkable, and we see many of the similar changes. The inflammation subsides, their bowels start working better. So juice cleanse has wonderful benefits, but it's not the same as a water fast. And we have to decide when to use which, because there are some people who just should not do a water fast. On a water fast, the action of any medication the person may be taking are potentiated. We see a lot more power from these drugs, and as a result, the rule is all medications stop on a water fast. And you stop all the beta blockers and blood pressure medications, etc. And the thyroid dosage is cut in half because it's all potentiated. But there are some people who are on medications they can't stop if they're on prednisone or antidepressants. And because of the risk of potentiating these drugs, water fasting is not safe for them. So during the initial intake assessment, that point is established, and we tell the person you're not a suitable candidate for water fasting, but you'd be excellent for a juice cleanse. So we frequently recommend juice cleanses in those people where water fasting is medically contraindicated. So do a lot of juice cleansing, and it's a wonderful, wonderful program. People can certainly do that safely at home, and I urge that if people are considering it, to give it a try. As far as the question of fruit versus vegetable juices, our fruit-based juices have a role. People who've been on a long, 2, 3, 4 week fast, the first juice will often bring them, if they're healthy, they don't have diabetes issues, they don't have inflammatory joint disease, etc. We'll bring them a glass of fresh watermelon juice with a little bit of celery juice in it, and it's ambrosia from the gods. And so that's a place where fruit juices have a role. And if a healthy person wants 4 glasses of juice during their first day, well, that's just fine. However, a fair amount of sugar, and that sugar is absorbed quickly because the fiber is pretty much left behind and you only have the juice. And no other animal, throws its fruits into a blender and drinks them. It's not the most natural way to ingest all these powerful fruit juices, all the fruit sugars, etc. So I tell my patients, when that first juice whether it's fruit or vegetable juice, when that juice comes in, we give them a good 16-ounce glass. It's a tall glass of juice. We tell them, do not just bolt that juice right down. And some people believe, it's going to oxidize, you have to drink it quickly. Well, you certainly don't have that kind of time pressure. Those juices are quite stable for hours. And I tell my patient, look, avoid that temptation. There is nothing natural or physiologic about dumping 16 ounces of fruit sugar and potassium into your system all at once, especially after you haven't eaten for weeks. So I tell my patients, whether they've been doing water fasting or just on a juice cleanse, look, when you get that juice, take a mouthful, put the glass down, chew it up, mix it with your saliva, swallow it, wait 5 minutes. Let that juice get down into your stomach, out into your duodenum, start being absorbed, and then take another mouthful, put the glass down, chew it up, swallow it, wait 5 or 10 minutes. Take an hour, take 2 hours to drink each of these juices. Don't flood them down all at once. And because, to your question, the fruit sugars can certainly put diabetes out of whack. And If the person hasn't eaten for a few weeks, the bacteria in their gut, their microbiome, they're very different organisms than when they walked in. The last thing I want to do is suddenly wake them up, like an alarm clock with 16 ounces of fruit sugar right away. It's a way to rekindle the autoimmune problems, the gut problems. So I'm a big fan of green juices, largely the non-sugary ones. Though we'll put in a little bit of carrot or apple so it doesn't taste like lawn clippings, but I'm a big fan of the green juices. And so we bring them 4 juices a day, one at 9, one at noon, one at 3, and one at 5, and drink them slowly, as we mentioned. And they don't usually get the problems of the sudden floods of fruit sugar into their bloodstream. So for that reason, I'm more a fan of the vegetable juices. But the fruit juices in healthy people do have their place as well. But the fruit juices can be a bit of a laxative, and people who go on a juice cleanse at home and they're just drinking fruit juice day after day after day, boy, their bowels get loose and other problems can arise. So careful with those fruit-based juices. I would suggest at least alternating them. Start with a fruit juice, then go to a green vegetable juice, then a fruit juice, then a green vegetable one. That's usually a pretty safe program that we find works. There's a very significant difference between juicing and putting the fruits or vegetables in a blender and basically making a smoothie and consuming that. With the juicing, and again, if we're talking about a toxic person that's overweight, high blood pressure, diabetes, and just lives on fast foods, a week or two, even a few days on freshly made vegetable juices, maybe with a little bit of fruit in them, is a wonderful thing to do. We've come to realize that in the very act of juicing, of course, out comes this lovely colorful juice, but then a whole big pile of vegetable pulp builds up. And we're realizing that in that pulp are most of the good nutrients that were in the fruit. They're bound to the fiber that's left behind. And the juices, though they have this wonderful reputation, they look wonderfully colored, truth is they've been really diminished in their phytonutrient content. And so don't look with contempt at that fiber that's left behind by the juicer. Find some way to throw that into a soup or do something, because there's a lot of good things left behind there. And so that is a bit of a deficit with fruit juices. So, well, how about eating that fiber by, instead of putting the vegetables or fruits through a juicer, put it into a blender and basically make a smoothie? Well, of course, that's going to be a lot more nutritious, and that would be the better thing to do from a strictly nutritional point of view. But in all honesty, I'm not a big smoothie fan either, because, you would never eat 3 bananas, a pineapple, 2 boxes of berries, an apple, a pear, a bunch of grapes, a big handful of kale, and a ½ pound of spinach. But boy, you can put all of that into a blender, whiz it up, and bolt it down in 90 seconds on your way out the door and think you've done something good for yourself. But really, there's nothing natural or physiologic about dumping all that sugar and water and liberated potassium and fiber into your stomach. We did not emerge from our mother's womb clutching a Vitamix, It's not really a natural thing to do. And there's getting to be concerns whether that upsets the intestinal flora, whether it promotes loose stools, whether it changes blood chemistry in not desirable ways. And so those are all wonderful foods to eat. I recommend I think what I describe is it's lazy 21st century nutrition. I don't have time to eat. I'm late for the office. I'm out the door there. And I say, listen, if it's such an important thing to nourish your body properly, set the alarm clock 25 minutes earlier. Get up and eat the berries. Eat the mango. Eat the pineapple chunks. Sit down and eat the food, because there's benefits in chewing up food, and the food then gets to contact your saliva that has enzymes that it interacts with the mouth bacteria that liberate very important nutrients. It increases the absorption of vitamins. There's a reason why nature wants us to interact our food with our mouth chemistry, and when we slide that smoothly to the back of the throat and swallow it, we bypass that very, very important step. And so for that reason, I'm a big fan of using those 32 juicers that Mother Nature gave us, 16 in our upper jaw and 16 in our lower jaw. Said to Klaper earlier, sit down and eat these wonderful foods, chew them up really well, juice them in your mouth, and you'll get so much more benefit that your blender can sit quietly in the corner. I think you'll be ahead of the game.